Cowboys Nation, the draft board just got reshuffled. Free agency has moved the pieces, and Mel Kiper dropped his updated mock this morning with all of that factored in. And when you look at where Dallas lands with 2 first-round picks, pick 12 and pick 20, the picture that forms is one that nobody is talking about enough. Because this is not just about who the Cowboys get. It is about the conversation those 2 picks force you to have. One of them carries real injury questions that the entire league is watching. The other one quietly fills the biggest communication gap this defense has had in years. And together, if this board holds, Dallas could walk out of the first round having addressed 2 critical needs in one night. I am going to walk you through the whole top 20, but stay with me, because everything builds toward picks 12 and 20. And by the time we get there, you will understand exactly why this scenario is either the best case Dallas could hope for or a gamble that depends entirely on one pro day workout at the end of this month. So, at number 1 overall, Fernando Mendoza. Number 2, David Bailey, the pass rusher out of Texas Tech, goes to the Jets. Number 3, Arvell Reese out of Ohio State. And at number 4, Jeremiah Love. Now look, I know the Cowboys lost their backfield this offseason, and some of you have feelings about Jeremiah Love going in the top 5 to another team. But Love going 4 is not the Cowboys' problem. What matters is who gets pushed down the board because of where the first 4 picks land. If Love goes to Washington at 4, names like Sonny Styles or Rueben Bain shift. Somebody falls. That is the real conversation. Number 5, the New York Giants take Caleb Downs, the safety out of Ohio State. And I will say it plainly, Downs is a player that fits what this Cowboys defense is building. Instincts, range, football IQ, but he is going 5th, and that is where that conversation ends. Number 6, Cleveland takes Monroe Freeling, the offensive tackle out of Georgia. And this one always opens the right tackle value debate. Is a right tackle worth the top 10 pick? Traditionally, no. You want the blind side. You want the guy who earns left tackle money. But this is a weird draft class. Almost every premium offensive line prospect projects to right tackle or guard, not left tackle. Francis Mauigoa out of Miami, arguably the cleanest, safest offensive line prospect in the class, is a right tackle. And the reality of the modern NFL is that if you find someone who can actually block the edge rushers this league is producing right now, you take him. Offensive line play is at an all-time low. Pass rushers are getting more unblockable every single season. Value the protection.
Number 7, Sonny Styles goes to the Washington Commanders. Number 8, Carnell Tate out of Ohio State to the Saints. People want to slow play him because of his 40 time, 4.53. You know who else ran a 4.53? CeeDee Lamb. I will let that sit. Number 9, Rueben Bain, the defensive end out of Miami, goes to Kansas City. And at number 10, Mansoor Delane, the corner out of LSU, goes to Cincinnati. Stop right there, because by the time pick 10 is done, the board has taken a very specific shape. Caleb Downs, gone. Sonny Styles, gone. Rueben Bain, gone. Mansoor Delane, gone. Every name that Cowboys fans were circling in the top 10 has come off the board before Dallas even gets close. And that sets up a very real question heading into pick 11. Number 11, Jordan Tyson to Miami. And now we are at pick 12. Dallas Cowboys on the clock. Mel Kiper gives them Jermod McCoy, corner out of Tennessee. And here is where you have to slow down and actually understand what this pick means. Because when you go back through the tape, the 2024 tape, the last time this man actually played football, the notes say one thing and one thing only. Best corner in this class. Not Mansoor Delane, not anyone else at that position. McCoy is the guy evaluators put at the top when they are being completely honest. But he did not play in 2025. He tore his ACL. He did not work out at the combine. And right now we are sitting 15 months removed from that injury. Here is the math that matters. By the time training camp opens in July, that is 19 months since the tear. If a player cannot go at 19 months on a clean ACL, something is wrong. That is not a normal recovery timeline. That is a red flag. And if someone told you he would not be ready to play real football by then, you put the tape away and you move on. You do not pick him in the top 15. But, and this is the part that changes everything, his pro day is at the end of this month. And if McCoy walks out there and moves the way he moved on that 2024 tape, the corner debate at the top of this class flips completely. Because you cannot leave that tape out of the conversation. It was special.
Junior year production at that level does not just disappear because a year went by. The fact that he skipped the combine does not scare me either. He is protecting himself. He wants to test at his absolute peak. If the pro day delivers, the Cowboys at 12 get the best corner in the draft at a spot where almost nobody else had the courage to take him. That is value. That is exactly the kind of decision a serious football organization makes. Pro day is the moment. Everything depends on it.
Number 13, Francis Maiagoa to the Rams. Number 14, Spencer Fano, the offensive lineman out of Utah, goes to Baltimore. Number 15, Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end out of Oregon. Number 16, the Jets take Ty Simpson, the quarterback out of Alabama. Number 17, Caden Proctor, the big left tackle out of Alabama, goes to Detroit. Number 18, Dylan Thieneman to Minnesota. He is the name being projected to replace Harrison Smith at safety. Number 19, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, the safety out of Toledo, goes off the board. Now you're at pick 20, the Dallas Cowboys on the clock again. 3 safeties gone. If you had safety on your mind with this pick, that conversation is over. Mel Kiper goes with C.J. Allen, linebacker out of Georgia. And I want you to understand why this pick quietly makes a lot of sense, even if it does not make people pound the table. C.J. Allen is the cleanest middle linebacker prospect in this draft. When you were talking about the green dot, the guy who wears the communication helmet, lines up the defense, identifies the blitz, sets the protection, C.J. Allen is the most ready-made version of that in this class. For a Cowboys defense that has had real structural problems with communication and alignment, that is not a small thing. That is the foundation of how a defense operates. Now, if you stack him against Emmanuel McNeil Warren on a pure prospect board, most evaluators have McNeil Warren above Allen. Big safety, plays the nickel, can set the edge, covers deep half, versatile chess piece for a modern defense. But McNeil Warren is gone at 19, so the conversation shifts. What you are left with at 20 is a linebacker who can genuinely run your defense from day one. Not a project, not a hope. A player built for exactly the role this coaching staff needs filled. So, step back and look at what this mock draft actually gives the Cowboys across both picks. At 12, you get the best corner in the class if his body holds up, a player with legitimate shutdown potential who you're essentially getting at a discount because the rest of the league blinked. At 20, you get the quarterback of your defense, the organizer, the communicator, the player who makes everyone around him better by eliminating confusion before the snap even happens. That is not a bad night. That is actually a really good night for a team that needed to address the back end of its defense and the brains of its linebacker core in the same draft. But everything starts with Jermod McCoy's pro day. That is the pen that holds this whole scenario together. If he shows out, Dallas at 12 looks like a steal 12 months from now. If he does not, the questions get louder and the Cowboys have to live with the uncertainty. Tell me in the comments, do you take McCoy at 12 knowing the injury history and bet on the tape? Or do you think the risk is too high and you need a different direction with that pick? Drop it below, because this decision is coming fast, and when you have 2 first-round picks, you do not get to waste either one.